Alright, hey guys, today we're going to be talking about parallel lines cut by a transversal, and in this unit we have two parallel lines cut by one transversal, splitting it up to 8 different angles, and there are names for these angles, identifying their positions. And I'll go over the names, and I'll teach you how to solve. So the vocab we need to know is right here. So alternate exterior angles, angles that are outside of the two lines cut by a transversal, which would be like right here, and like right here. And they're on opposite sides. So example would be 1 and 5, since they're on the outer part and they're on opposite sides. Next would be consecutive exterior, outside, and that's when it's outside of the inner part, like I said, but on the same side. So a good example would be 1 and 4. Now we go with alternate interior, and that is when angles on the inner side of the two lines. So it'd be like right here, like on the inner part, and basically they're on the inner part, and they're on, since they're alternative, they're on opposite ends. So a good example would be 2 and 6, like right here.
Hello.
And right here. Then we have consecutive interior, and that is when angles on the inner part of the two lines cut by a transversal and on the same ends. And an example would be 2 and 3. And for corresponding, it's when angles on the same side of the transversal but correspond to each other. So example would be 2 and 4, because one's on the outside and the other one's on the inside, but you gotta make sure the one on the inside is on the further end of, on the further end, or else it might be, and don't confuse that for linear, because when an angle is linear, it's like right on the other side. One is on the outside, one is on the inside, but the one on the inside is right on the other side. But then for corresponding, it's on the further end. So a good example for linear would be 1 and 2, since it's right on the other side. Now we go with how to solve, and it's pretty easy. We just need to know which belongs in which. So for supplementary, it's all the consecutives. And remember, supplementary equals 180 degrees. So it's all the consecutives and a linear pair. And for congruent, it's all the alternatives and corresponding. So an example, let's say, let's put 50 right here. Let's put 50 right there. So these are corresponding to each other, since one's right on the outside and the other one's on the inside, but it's on the further end. So it's, if you look back, it's corresponding. So yeah, it's corresponding, so it's congruent. It's congruent, so it's just corresponding. So x equals 50 degrees. Next is example number 2, which is pretty much, was also easy, just alternate exterior. And remember, all the alternatives are congruent, so x would equal 70 degrees. Next is example number 3, and since it's consecutive, all the consecutives are supplementary, so you subtract 150 by 30, not 150, but 180 by 30, and you get 150 degrees. And that'd be your answer, x equals 150 degrees. Next, this is a little bit harder since there's equations involved. So here in this instance, they're alternatives, so it's congruent. So you do 5x plus 5 equals 45 degrees. And what you do is variable house, number house, and subtract 5 to both sides, and you get 5x equals 40. And cross multiply or divide, whatever you want to call it. And once you divide to each side, you get 8, because 40 divided by 5 is 8, and you plug 8 into it, and 5 times 8 is 40, plus 5 is 45, so you get the right answer. You're right, because the alternatives are congruent, and you got 45, which is congruent to the other angle. So you got that one right. Next is example 5, and basically what you do is 5x. First let's change this into an easier one, because I know for a fact this one is wrong. So since it is linear, you know that it equals 180 degrees. So actually, let's do this. It's much easier. 80. So it'd be 5x, and since you know that these both added up equal to 180, you do 5x plus 80 equals 180 and 180, and you subtract 80 to both sides. And you get 5x equals 100, and you divide 5 to both sides, and you get 20. And you know that you got this right, because if you plug 20 into the x, it's 5 times 20 is 100, like I said right there. And 100 plus 80 equals 180, and a linear pair equals 180 degrees. And now we have another example. So these are consecutive exterior, so they're added up to 180 degrees. So it'd be 4. And remember, these are like terms, so you do 4x plus 100 equals 180.